Welcome back to the PI show, and we've come to the part of the show where PI really gets personal with your questions from Viv's mail. I'm here with Viv Ryan, and she's here to talk to us about emails and questions that you've sent in. Viv.
Good evening, guys. How are you?
Good.
How are you?
Very good. Great show with Fred. I felt so sorry for him, but it was really great to see that he had some resolve come through settling that matter after so many years. So
The plight of the worker, Viv.
yeah, it's really interesting. This week we have a question from Alison, who writes from Northcote. To the PI show, I recently watched your show on psychological injuries and was particularly interested in the information about bullying in the workplace. I had to quit my old job 6 months ago because I felt that I was not being treated fairly. In particular, my boss kept harassing me about deadlines that I had no chance of meeting and was constantly being watched over, so I was always jumpy. Since quitting my job, I've had to seek medical attention and have been diagnosed with an anxiety disorder. I've been unable to work since I quit due to fears that I would endure similar treatment. Is it possible I have a claim against my former employer? Thanks, Alison. Harry, what are your thoughts?
Alison, there's a claim which is called statutory benefits. You've got to lodge a claim form and a work cover medical certificate saying you've got an injury arising out of work. So that's the first step. Work cover should accept the claim if the medical evidence is all consistent, and then you've got to then they'll pay for weekly payments and for medical expenses. So that's the first step. Secondly, there might be a no fault benefit. You've got to wait 12 months before you can lodge a claim for no fault benefits for a psychological injury. You need, under a guide, you need more than 10%.
30%, Harry.
Where physical
high.
injury is 10% and 30% is a psychological injury. You need more than 30% to actually get any benefit whatsoever. 29% won't do it. And then you may have a common law claim against the employer, but on the facts, that would be a very, very difficult claim.
Yeah, the facts are a bit difficult to pursue common law in these facts. What you really need is, apart from just harassment about meeting deadlines, you'd need bullying and that sort of stuff.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I mean, to be honest, the things that she's posed is not unnormal for what happens in a workplace, in the sense that, well, you know, you have deadlines to be met.
Vivian,
there are bosses that do watch over you.
It is a fine line because she says she's jumpy and we don't really know the full details. What you'd probably need to do in this case is get some witnesses. You know, get witnesses to talk about how she was treated and how they're treated. Because it may be that she's swearing at them and carrying on. Who knows? You just do not know.
Alison,
so I think
we're not
she should get
assuming
advice.
that you're saying all of that, but we just, you know.
Yeah, there's a lot of things. And in the current climate with, the sad case of the girl that committed suicide the recent decision.
But that was a clear bullying case.
Yeah,
that was
that had a lot of witnesses. In fact, there was one in particular.
Case. Yeah.
Yeah.
But harassment at work, about work duties, the High Court in a recent decision says that if you're stressed performing your work duties, you can't claim it common law. You've got statutory benefits, but you can't claim it common law.
But so I think the advice is see a lawyer.
See a lawyer.
See a lawyer.
Thanks,
Clarify
Alison.
the issues.
The next question we have is from James. He writes, I just have a quick question. What's the difference between no fault and fault benefits under the TAC scheme? If I crash my car into a fence and suffer an injury, is that considered to be fault or no fault? Thanks, James. Tony.
In simple language, he's only entitled that there would be no fault.
Okay, what
Unless
does
he
that
crashed it, no fault means it doesn't matter if it's his fault or someone else's fault. If it's his fault, he's entitled to the no fault benefits, which is medical treatment and also loss of income if he can't work or if he's out of work, albeit you don't get the first 5 days. And it may be he crashed the car because another car sideswiped him, or he tried to avoid another car, or a motorcyclist, who knows? So, you'd have to look at the circumstances and facts again.
We have an email from Joanna in St Albans. She writes, hello, a while ago my doctor gave me a drug to treat me for depression without informing me of the possible side effects, one of which is serious liver damage. Recently I have had tests done and it was revealed that I have impaired liver function. I believe it is because of the medication, which I never would have taken had I known of the possible side effects. Was the doctor obliged to inform me of this side effect? Can I now sue him for my pain and suffering as well as the costs of my treatment? Would Would love to hear from you. Thanks, Joanna.
It's an
Tony.
interesting question, Viv,
It is.
because I think that when you go to doctors, one of the things they ask you when they prescribe medication is, are you allergic to penicillin?
Well, I'm actually
And,
allergic to penicillin.
Yeah,
Did
so
you
am
know
I.
that?
I just discovered it a couple of years ago. So, it's a tough case, but you'd have to investigate it a bit better, work out if there's any other cause or any other reason. But you'd probably have to get a specialist to say that, you know, the medication did in fact cause liver damage.
There was direct
There might have
causation.
been, yeah.
There could be alcohol involved, could there?
There might have
Harry?
been anything.
Harry?
Could be. Look, medical
blood
negligence,
disorder.
probably, there's a lot of complaints and issues about medical negligence. They're difficult cases to assess initially because you need an expert to give some guidance. But in this case, again, number of issues you've highlighted is, did the drug cause the actual damage? You've got to demonstrate that. Secondly, you've got to say that should the doctor have warned someone about the side effects? Drugs do have side effects. Someone might have taken it even though they knew there was some risk. And was there side effects on the label itself? So should someone have...
Or should they have their own...
And the pharmacist generally says, oh,
There's
careful
side
with this
effects.
drug. And
Someone
there's
say
side
they hand
effects.
out a leaflet with the drug. So
Tough case,
they're
Harry,
tough
but
cases, but interesting. They're challenging for lawyers, and that's what we're here to do: is talk about PI cases that affect the community around
Ring up a
Australia.
lawyer and get it properly investigated.
But yeah, get it properly investigated. Thanks for watching the PI show for this week. We'll be back next week with a bigger and better show. Thanks, Viv. Thanks,
Thanks,
Tony.
guys.
Thank you, viewers.
Good evening.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Harry.